I'd get up at 6 a.m. every single day, walk into the kitchen, make my food, put it in the lunchbox, get in my car, drive through traffic, get to work. I wave to the same people, I'd walk up the same set of stairs, get into my little cubicle, sit in the same chair, look at the same computer, and do the same thing every single day for 2.5 years. And I hated it. I had to get out. And I did. I did so by setting goals. And that is what we're talking about today. Setting goals to change your life, in particular, your personal financial life. My name's Cody, and this channel is all about personal finance stuff. I'm a software engineer and a personal finance nerd. I've been obsessed with money since I was a little boy. And if you like this kind of content, please consider subscribing or liking the video or leaving a comment or something just to help me grow. And with that done, let's get started. So you might be asking yourself, why does this even matter? Why do you need to set goals really? What's the whole point? And the answer is that if there's anything in your life you want to change, whether it's big or small, the best way to do this is by setting a goal. And you've probably been doing this your whole life without realizing it. But by recognizing how you do it and essentially codifying it, you're going to become much more efficient at it. And that's what we're talking about today. There's 3 primary pillars of setting a good goal. Now, the first pillar, I guess we can say, is that you have to be very specific about what that goal is. Right? If your goal is simply to make more money, well, that's kind of hard to achieve because no matter how much you make, there's always more you could make. You don't really ever know if you achieve that or not. But if you say you want to increase your net worth by $10,000 by the end of the year, well, okay, now that's a goal. That can be achieved. Likewise, let's say you want to become a homeowner. Well, what do you really want? Are you wanting a condo? Are you wanting a townhouse? Are you wanting a house with a yard? What kind of house are you wanting? What kind of price range? You have to be specific so that you know what to look for and essentially how to achieve that goal. One of the ways you can kind of cheat the system is that you need to ask yourself, why do you want to achieve this? So if I want to make more money, why do I want to make more money? Am I wanting to buy something really cool? Am I wanting to get a house? Am I wanting to save for retirement? What am I wanting to really do with this? What's my why? And once you have that in mind, let's say you want to save more for retirement. Well, okay, if you want to save more for retirement, now you can get more specific and really hone in on what that goal is and how to achieve it. Maybe you can take better advantage of your employer-sponsored retirement plan or something along that lines. Another way to kind of sidestep or hack that process is to try and visualize yourself with that goal achieved. And what you might discover is it's not necessarily about the money, maybe it's about freedom. Maybe you want to own your own business or start a side gig. Maybe you don't want to be pinned down in the job you have right now. Maybe that's the real goal. So by asking yourself why, or by trying to visualize what the end goal actually is or what you'll look like if that goal is achieved, you can have a very clear-cut way of making that goal more specific and knowing what you're actually going after. Once you've got that out of the way, the second pillar of setting a good goal is that you need to be able to take that goal and break it down into achievable chunks. So for example, if you want to buy a house, what's required to get that done? Where you're going to have to do some research about what kind of house you're wanting, right? A townhouse or a condo or whatever. You're going to have to know the price range you're aiming for. You're going to have to know how much of a down payment you're going to need to save up. You're going to want to research, the area or the various neighborhoods you can buy in. You're going to break that goal of I want to buy a house into I need to save, I need to do some research, I need to, X, Y, Z. You need to be able to break your goal down into achievable chunks. And the reason is because when you achieve those smaller chunks, it gives you essentially the confidence or the dopamine hit to keep on achieving more and more until that goal is actually complete. And if you look at a lot of things in life, things are actually structured this way without us really realizing it. And you can look at something like martial arts, right? So I do jujitsu, and just like pretty much every other martial art, they have a belt system, and then within that belt system, there are stripes on the belt, right? So there's a white belt, blue belt, purple, brown, black, and you got stripes on those belts. And the whole reason of why they have belts and why they have stripes is because every time you achieve a little bit, it makes you feel like you're making progress, because you are. But because you're making those little bits of progress, the whole journey from white to black feels much more manageable. If you just start at white belt and then waited 12 years and finally got your black belt, most people wouldn't make it there. That's just too vast of a chasm to cross. White belt to black belt would be a never-ending journey that most people would never finish. But by having these belts in there, you can look back and say, okay, I'm a blue belt now. Okay, I'm a purple belt now. Okay, I'm brown. Finally, I'm black. It's the same way with any other goal in life. If you're going to really achieve it, you've got to learn to break it down to smaller chunks that can easily be accomplished. And lastly, since this is a personal finance channel, these goals need to be accomplished in a certain order of operations, so to speak. Meaning that if you're going after your goals financially, you need to already have your emergency fund set up and your buffer. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, I'll refer to my previous video, which I'll post somewhere on the screen. And basically, there's a system where you can have your money flow down into your buffer and your emergency fund. After those are taken care of, then you go into your goals. And that way, you don't have to worry about sliding back into debt or sliding into a financial situation where you're not able to attack your goals aggressively. Because it really sucks to start making progress on something and then you have to stop for some unplanned expense. So once you have your buffer and your emergency fund built up, one of the first goals I recommend people set is to pay off any debt they have, particularly if the interest rate on it is above 5%. This will include anything like credit card debt, some high interest student loans, basically any kind of a high interest debt that is going to be dragging on you financially. Try and get that out of the way before you track your goals. And the primary reason for that is simply because debt can be a pretty big drag on you financially. And once you start getting after your goals and going after them seriously, you're going to be able to throw everything you've got at these. You're going to want to get real progress made. And if you've got a bunch of debt, especially something like credit card debt, if you've got that going on in your life at the same time, it's hard to really make progress anywhere else. And you're probably going to be kicking yourself in the head later because high interest debt, especially like credit card debt or say even car loans or something like that, that really, really, really drags on you and makes you pay a lot more money in the long run. One of the things I also suggest when it comes to creating goals is if that goal involves saving money, try and make a separate savings account or checking account for that goal. Because this way it will keep you from accidentally dipping into that money if you have an emergency. Instead of accidentally taking away from your house down payment fund, if it's separated, then you can just dip into your emergency funds because that's what it's for. You don't have to worry about messing your other goal progress up. And likewise, it just makes things easier. Just having stuff separated makes it more clean cut and easier to manage mentally. You're also going to notice that as you get better at making goals and becoming more focused on them, your financial life will become much more stable because you're going to be, whether you know it or not, you're going to be making every single dollar hone in on a job. Instead of just kind of sitting around or wasting away, everything's going to have a purpose. And by having goals, you're going to make that money work towards that purpose and propel the changes in your life faster. If the bit about the buffer and emergency fund is something you're not familiar with, I've included a video at the end of this video that walks you through how to set up your finances and your accounts in such a way that your money basically manages itself. So be sure to check that out, and that way you keep watching more of my content. So if you enjoyed today's video, please be sure to like and subscribe and do all the usual stuff, and I'll see you next time.